A lot of business owners think their YouTube channel is working because videos are being posted. But when you look at the actual business result, nothing is really happening. Your channel can look active and still not be helping the business grow. This is the part that most business owners do not want to admit. You can have videos going out, you can have decent thumbnails, and you can have an editor making everything look clean. You can even get views. But when you look at the actual business result, there are no qualified calls. There are no warmer prospects, no real sales momentum, just content activity. And content activity is not the same thing as client acquisition. This is what I call the active channel problem. It is when a business looks like it is doing YouTube from the outside, but behind the scenes, the founder, the business, or you is still wondering, why is this not leading to better sales conversations? And this happens a lot with coaches, agencies, consultants, and even expert service providers. Because most people treat YouTube like a content project. They ask, for example, what should we post? Or they ask, how do we get more views? Or they even ask, how do we make the videos look better? And those are not bad questions, but they are not the first questions that should be asked. The better question is this content actually moving the right person closer to trusting us or understanding our offer and booking a qualified sales call? Because that is where most YouTube strategies quietly fall apart. The problem, most high-ticket coaches do not have a content problem. They have a content to sales problem. The videos exist, but they are disconnected from the business. So for example, the topics are too broad, or the scripts may teach information, but they do not shape belief, the viewer's belief system, into believing that there is a problem, or this person understands my problem, and therefore their offer solves my problem. For example, the CTA is either weak, vague, or awkwardly slapped at the end of each video like a sticker on a bumper. And I see that with a lot of channels and a lot of videos. The channel may attract viewers, but not enough people who are actually close to buying. So you may start looking for surface level fixes. Maybe we need better editing, or maybe we need better hooks, or maybe we need to post more consistently, and maybe we need better thumbnails. And yes, all of those things can matter. But this is where most people get it wrong. A better looking version of the wrong strategy is still the wrong strategy. It just fails in higher resolution. The hidden cause is that the content is not built around qualified buyer movement. And that phrase really matters. So a qualified buyer movement means your videos are not just getting attention, they are helping the right person move from I have this problem to this person understands the problem, to I trust how they think, to their offer might be relevant for me, to I should probably book a call. That is the actual job of these videos. But most business YouTube channels do not do that. They educate, but they do not qualify. They explain, but they do not create urgency. They give tips, but they do not reduce objections. They create content around what the business owner knows, not what the buyer is thinking before they make a decision. And that is why a video can be useful and still fail commercially. Useful content is not automatically a buyer moving content. This is the uncomfortable truth that most businesses don't want to admit. So the belief shift is really simple. Stop thinking of YouTube as a place to publish content. Start thinking of YouTube as a trust-building sales asset. That does not mean that every video should be a sales pitch. Actually, that would probably make people run and never come back. It actually means that each video should have a job. Some videos should attract the right buyer. Some videos should diagnose a specific problem. Some videos should reframe a false belief. And some should handle objections. Some videos should show proof of business results. When you look at the YouTube this way, the question changes. It is no longer did this video get views, and I see that with a lot of channels that are focusing on getting more attention or more views rather than building or creating this buyer movement framework. Here's a simple way to evaluate your content. Before you create the next video, ask those 5 questions. First, who is this video attracting? For example, in my case, I don't want to just attract entrepreneurs or just business owners. I need to have a specific person in mind. For example, trying to target a coach who is struggling to get qualified sales calls or warmer sales calls through their content, or an agency owner who's tired of relying on referral, a consultant whose sales calls are full of uneducated prospects. The more specific the viewer, the more strategic the video can become. The second question you want to ask, what buyer problem does this video address? In my case, it's not just a content problem. What is the buying stage problem they are at? For example, a business owner may not be thinking, I need a content or YouTube strategy. They may be thinking, why our leads are cold? Or why are people not understanding our offer before the call? This is the language that you want to meet your viewer in. And the third question is, what objection does this video reduce in the buyer's mind? So for example, a strong YouTube channel should quietly answer the questions that your sales team keeps hearing. Well, this works for my niche. Do I have time for this? Can I just hire an editor? How long does this even take? What makes this different from posting content? Now, if your videos answer those questions before the call gets easier and it gets warmer. The fourth question is, what sales conversation does this video warm the buyer up for? This is a big one because a good video should make a future conversation more productive and a lot warmer. So by the time someone books a call, they should already understand how you think. They should already see the problem more clearly. They should already feel like your approach makes sense to them. And the fifth question is, what next step does this video make natural? So this is where a lot of content creators get it wrong. The CTA should not feel like a sudden commercial break. It should feel like the logical next move. And I see this mistake with a lot of content creators where they just tag a CTA at the end of a video because they feel like they have to. Now, if the video diagnoses a leak in their channel, the next step should help them find the leak. That should be the CTA. That is clean, natural, and that is how content starts to support the sales funnel. Let me show you the difference between a broad content and a specific content idea. A broad content idea would be how to grow your business with YouTube. That might attract people who are curious about YouTube. It might get views, but it is broad. It does not tell you much about where the viewer is in the buying process. Now compare that to why your YouTube content is not turning into qualified sales calls. That is a very different viewer. That person probably has a business. They probably understand YouTube has potential. They may already be creating content and they are not just curious. They're actually frustrated and they have a specific business problem that they're looking to solve. That topic gives you a cleaner path into the conversation. You can actually diagnose the issue. You can explain why views are not enough. You can show the difference between random content and offer-led content. You can naturally introduce the idea that YouTube should connect to the offer, the buyer, and the sales process. That is buyer intent content. It does not chase everybody. It speaks to the person who is closer to needing the solution. And this is the pattern that I have seen over and over. When YouTube is treated like a creative content task, the business owner ends up managing content. On the other hand, when YouTube is treated like a sales asset, the content starts supporting the business. That means the strategy has to come before the edit. The offer has to come before the topic. And the buyer journey has to come before the video ideas. Because if the strategy is disconnected, the rest of the content system just makes the wrong thing move faster. And you can have great editing on a video that attracts the wrong viewer. You can have a strong hook on a topic that does nothing for the sales process. You can even have consistent posting that consistently creates no qualified calls. And that becomes not a consistency issue. This is a strategy issue. Now, a fair question you may ask, can I just hire an editor? The answer is you can, but an editor usually solves a production problem. They do not automatically solve a positioning problem or a buyer psychology problem or a CTA problem. This is not an insult to editors. A good editor is very valuable. But if you hand an editor a weak topic, a vague script, and no clear sales path, they can only make the weak strategy look better. Another fair question is, what if I don't have time to manage all of this? This is exactly why this system matters. The goal is not for you to become a full-time content creator. The goal is to turn your expertise into strategic content without letting YouTube take over your schedule. Because for a high-ticket business, the time for the person behind the personal brand is very valuable. You do not want them stuck in title revisions, edit notes, script writing or editing scripts, upload settings, or what should we post next. Those meetings will take forever, and this is not leverage. This is just a content hamster wheel with nicer lighting. This is why at CamJam Media, we do not start with random video ideas. We start with the offer, the ideal buyer, the sales process, the objections, and the path that someone needs to take before they are ready to book a qualified sales call. This is what we call an offer-led YouTube sales funnel. The point is not to help you become famous on YouTube. The point is to turn your expertise into content that builds trust before the first conversation and help bring in better sales opportunities. So instead of asking what videos can we make, we ask, what does your buyer need right now? What do they need to understand, believe, and trust before they are ready to talk to you? This is a very different strategy, and it creates a very different type of channel. For a clearer way to evaluate your own channel, use the YouTube channel strategy quiz that I created, and it's linked down below. It will help you look at your content through the lens of qualified sales calls, not just views, uploads, or activity. You'll be able to see where the biggest leak likely is. Is it your topics and scripts? Is it your CTA? Or is it your production system? Or is it the way your content connects to your offer? Because the goal is not to make more content. The goal is to make the right potential client feel like you understand their problem before they ever speak to you. That is what turns scattered content into strategic content. This is what makes sales calls warmer, and that is how YouTube starts becoming more than a channel. It becomes part of the way your business earns trust. And I will leave you with this. If you are building a high-ticket business and you want YouTube to support sales instead of just views, this channel will be useful for you, because content should not just keep you busy, it should move the right people closer to your business.